Yeah. So financial inclusion, as it started around 50 or 40 years ago in India. So the main paradigm of financial inclusion was, first of all, there were not many people who were taking bank accounts at all. So after the nationalization of banks, people started taking bank accounts because the availability to the banking services increased because of the nationalization of banks. But if you see in the last 10 to 20 years, the paradigm is completely shifted, and it's now financial inclusion is mostly about the availability of credit to the people. So if you take the report of 2010 Rangarajan Committee, so they talk about financial inclusion is no more, it's there, but availability of banking services is a very big issue. But when it comes to the rural village or even comes to urban centers also, the availability of credit is a big issue when it comes to financial inclusion. So there are 31%, only 31% of the population is using only banking services, and that too, half of the people know that there are online services in banking. And out of these 31, only 85% of the people do not even have the availability of credit. So this is a debatable topic, saying that financial inclusion should be including the credit availability to the people along with the banking services. So a few points that I would like to add here. There are some actions taken by RBI, including banks, to make sure that first of all financial inclusion is there and then credit availability is there. So first of all, they introduced no frills account, as most of you already added. No frills account is a basic account where you don't have to pay much and you get an account with normal facilities, like you don't get a checkbook, you don't get any internet account. So you'll be giving only a basic account to the bank to the people. So this is to make sure that most of the people in rural villages, for example, construction workers or farmers, they get an account, including women. And this is mostly possible using only public sector banks. Even private sector banks cannot even implement it because they need at least 3 or 4,000 rupees to be deposited in a bank first of all to get an account. So this has been implemented only by public sector banks now. So this made sure that most of the people got the account first of all. So this is a good advantage first of all with no frills account. And the one more thing is that the restrictions imposed by RBI for priority sector lending. For example, if you are in a village and there are around some 30% of the population is farmers. So like the bank accounts that you are giving to the people should be at least 40% when it comes to priority sector lending. So this made sure that bank should go to the village and talk to the people and made sure that 40% of the loans that they are giving should be priority sector lending loans. So this made sure that at least people open accounts and take the loans. So these are some actions that the RBI and the banks work together and make sure the financial inclusion is there. But advantages being the accounts being opened and at least 30 or 40% of the people are at least able to access from banks, whatever it is, public sector or private sector banks. But when it comes to no frills account, for example, I have seen so many examples in the bank. For example, saying if there is there are so many schemes. For example, in Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra, there are so many schemes. If you have a baby, like a baby girl in your family, so you will be given 50,000 rupees. Yeah, to encourage, to empower women, to encourage girls and all. So yeah. So in this case, what happened is this is one scheme that is implemented by one of the governments, as you. So what happened is people started taking accounts, going to the bank and showing the scheme, saying that I need a bank account. So they will be getting 50,000 and they will be opening an account. So almost 50 to 60% of the accounts being opened like this, they become dormant within 6 months because they will get the money and they will make use of it and the account will be dormant. So the thing is, most of the accounts in the bank show these kind of accounts, dormant accounts. So even we cannot even say that the 30% people who are using the bank accounts are really using it. Most of the accounts are dormant accounts. So this is an disadvantage with no frill account. It's not correctly showing the number as to how many people are using the bank account. And as I said, urban people. So the banks boast that, for example, SBI and SBI, so many banks say that we are giving so many services to the people. For example, let it be mobile banking, ATMs, and all those things. But when you see ECR road itself, you can count how many ATMs are there, how many banks are there in these 30 kilometers of ATM. So most of the restrictions imposed by RBI, banks are making sure that they open the banks in urban regions. And these services that they are boasting of are only available to the urban people. And of course there are restrictions because they cannot do business if they come to these kind of regions. So that's one more disadvantage in the numbers that is showing there. And as I said, there was a Yeah. As I said, there was a suggestion by Rangarajan committee saying that there should at least be one bank within range of 2 to 5 kilometers to make sure that, for example, there are so many villages in South India, as you know. For example, there are for 30 villages there is only one bank. So there will be for one bank there are restrictions as to there can be only 2 probationary officers or 1 manager like that. So all of these 30 villages flock together. So for example, if it is a agriculture, for example, season, so all of them flock together in a bank where you cannot get services at all. And one more thing, the big problem is, as a farmer, I go to the bank and there will be only 2 clerks and 2 probation officer or 1 major. I don't even know how I get the loan. So first of all, the financial inclusion itself is completely related to the literacy, financial literacy of this country first of all. Because I know that financial inclusion is a very big advantage for the country, but how I benefit from the financial inclusion itself is people do not know about it. So this is what actually Chakravarti was also talking about in financial conference. Financial inclusion is a very big advantage for the country, but people should know that this is what the benefit I am getting by financial inclusion. What is the need to be included in the financial system? So they don't even know what is the benefit they will get if they get into the financial system. So, for example, most of the people, we are sitting here, we don't even, for example, if you go to the bank, we are also confused as to what slip you have to pick for deposit and for loan. So how the people who cannot even read, they don't even know what slip to pick. So the problem I can say is that in the education system, there should be some kind of a encouragement from the government that some kind of courses should be included from, for example, for a 10th class student as to what a bank does. So that at least from there the families can get an advantage as to what a bank can do. And one more thing, even if you see in the villages, the farmer wants to grow a crop. He has enough gold in his house. He wants to go and give it to the money lender. But he doesn't even know that there are some companies which gives especially loans on gold. So he doesn't even know the benefit of and the kind of interest rate that he can get and the security that he can get by giving the gold to that company and getting the loan. So they go and give it to some unscrupulous lender and he'll take the gold and he'll come to suicide. So first of all, they don't even know the benefit of being included in financial inclusion. So as I said, this and one more thing, we are developing country. As you see, banking services are available to so many people. But only when credit is available, that's when we can grow. So the one good advantage of having so many restrictions by RBI is we could save ourselves from the 2008 financial crisis. But with the same restrictions imposed on the banks, they're not able to give as easily loans as possible. Because there are so many banks which only take deposits. And they are running to losses, they don't even care about giving loans. They're interested in taking deposits, they're interested in having losses, but they don't care giving loans because of the restrictions. So as a developing country, there should be some kind of relaxation when it comes to loans, especially in rural sector at least. And one more thing, there is one concept introduced that is called KYC now, know your customer. So when you go there, for example, if you are from another village, another mandal, so in that mandal there is no bank at all. So they say that this ration card will not work because my KYC now will not accept your ration card, so I cannot give you bank account. So that person will not be interested in coming to you again and saying that I need a bank account. So there should be at least different kind of KYC norms when it comes to urban population and rural population, because they may not be interested in taking Aadhaar card or voter card. They just need money to set up something. As you know, like Syndicate Bank is the one which gave 25, I don't remember the exact amount, 30,000 rupees to Zero Balance Fund, and you can see now. Just for token of thanks, they have invested 1,200, they have deposited 1,200 crores of rupees in Syndicate Bank, and it's still there. So I cannot say everybody can become the Ambani, but he knows that I can get money from there. He is enough literate about how the financial system can help him, and he goes. So, and one more thing, as we already added, post offices, they can only get the deposits, they cannot give loans, and this is the biggest disadvantage. And one more thing, as you can see, microfinance, there are some cooperative banks in villages. So they give more. Those people who know about financial system, what they do is they take loans from commercial banks at a rate of something around 9%. And the same another bank which is not a commercial public sector bank will be giving you an interest of 13%. They take loans from this bank and deposit it there. So the people who know the system, they are misusing it, and those who don't know, they are not even taking the loan. That's the problem. So I think like financial inclusion is completely, if not 100%, it's at least 80% linked to the financial literacy of the people. So if there are some instances, for example, cooperative banks should be encouraged, and the products like Kisan credit cards. And one more thing, as I said, there are so many self-help groups in villages. So they should be included in the operation of banks, because if one person enters into the bank, they don't even know where to go. They're not literate. So there should be self-help groups, one agent, two agents at least should be helping the people coming to the bank. There can be some payment to them, but at least if they are included in the bank, the people will at least know that this is what the service I can get from the bank. So this is some of the parts that we have. And infrastructure, as you already know, is very bad for the banking system.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
So if it becomes on it, what is the different thing that you go to?